Hello, you are live from the man cave. It's a bit chilly in here, so I've put my Spurs scarf on. I'm quite excited, I have to say. It's North London derby time, and I've got a great bunch of guests with me tonight to preview the game. If you're watching at home with us already, congratulations, you made the right choice. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let us know you're here with some super chat action. We're going to get into team news. We're going to get into opposition views. We're going to get into everything tonight. No holds barred. So let us know what is on your minds tonight. Joining me all the way from somewhere very northern. He sounds like he's one of the Wurzels, but he's not. Gibbo, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, mate, buzzing to get into this. Looking forward to the game tomorrow. I'm quietly confident, but we'll get into that later. But change of scenery, mate. So, looking forward to talking things Spurs, mate.
And after a week of abstinence, I'm back on the sauce with a couple of beers to celebrate the North London derby. To help me commemorate this fact, I feel like I'm seeing double down below me, but I'm not. It's HG all the way from Vienna. How is single parenting going for you, sir?
Yeah, my wife got back today after 9 days, so I'm pretty happy. Look, one person's confident, one person's celebrating with beers. Dude, guys, can we not? Can we please not do this? I do not share either of those sentiments. In fact, commiserate is the one that probably goes with me right now. But I've got black. I'm ready.
You do ready.
Yeah, be the end of. I don't know. I hate this game.
It's not the end of days. We're away at the Emirates. Come on. And as I was saying to our other guest, Stephen, before the show, the stadium's faded just like their success. Joining us, it's our friendly neighbourhood gooner. Interesting fact, Stephen, you've been on the show 4 times now, which makes you our most invited back away fan. How do you feel about
that? Troubled? For ye? It's like, we'll have this lad on again. No, thanks for having me on. Obviously, first, I know this is enemy grounded, blah, 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 but I do enjoy talking football with, informed and illuminated people and having a good discussion. So thanks for having me on. It's a weird one where it's like, tomorrow, what to
which
expect.
channel's that?
DailyCannon.com if you're on for all Arsenal news. But no, it's one of those things where it's like, tomorrow. Like I remember the first time I was on, and you asked me how I was feeling, and I said it's the game between we're not very good, you're not very good. Let's see who's the least bad. And now 2 years later, it's almost the exact opposite, where we're actually quite decent, you're actually quite decent. Let's see who's actually going to be the team that loses to 20 points to City in the league title.
And I think that's a distinct possibility, the way City have gone off like a train, but we will absolutely get to...
Gone off like a train. They're level with us, pal.
Yeah.
All right, I should rephrase. Alan's gone off like a train, and that does not bode well for the rest of it. But it's North London derby time. Look at that. JP working overtime, bless him, doing our graphics.
Wait, it looks like Gabriel Jesus has got a Man United kit on.
Yes.
I know the Arsenal one is quite similar, but yeah, it's interesting.
It does look a bit like that.
Little fact, our away kit, this year's the first time our away kit sold more than our home kit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the home kit is pretty bland. It's red and white. It's your typical Arsenal shirt, whereas the away kit is one of the most beautiful shirts ever produced. So
is that the black one?
The black one, yeah. And the pink one is almost up there as well. Like it's Adidas. I've always wondered why Adidas don't do with us what they do with Manchester United. Like, could you imagine if they brought out a green and yellow Manchester United shirt?
Yeah.
And they'd take all the money. Even from the rest of us who were like, we'll just make a laughy. But I'll spend
still waiting for a decent shirt, really. There's a very nice black training top. I don't know why they don't just roll with black as the away kicks. It looks
well. Cool. To be fair, like if he'd only said to AIA like for 4 years, listen, we'll let you off a couple of million, have the sponsor blue. It ruins it completely. Like that big red splotch in the middle of a Tottenham shirt. Like if you just make that blue, it goes nicer. It's really like the ones where you had Holston for years.
Yeah.
Or take that little neon out of it. It's like you're almost trying too hard with the.
mixing it up a bit. Well, listen, all those wonderful shirts are available from our partners, Kitbag. I've dropped a lovely link in the chat. You can get over there today. We've got 20% off all kinds of Spurs merch, one day only. So the link is in the chat. This bad boy training top, which I do like, is 20% off over there as well. So get over there. I think they've got kids' kits 20% off, all sorts of clobber. I saw you trolling me about this on Insta, Gibbo. That is a class training top. You can
Would
see
you buy
me
the fitted version?
Absolutely. You can see me on a Tuesday night, in the cold, in the winter, looking like a fluorescent tubby man running around.
All the gear.
No idea.
You know what? It's funny you should say that, right? So I did play Tuesday. I went in for I broke my foot and tore ligaments in my ankle not long ago. Probably
from doing nothing with it. Were you just standing out on the wing?
No, I turned.
He dropped the bag of the bottle on it.
I rolled my ankle, tore my ligaments, and snapped my foot as I went down. I wasn't even near the ball. That's the best of it.
Thomas Partey, eat your heart out.
I went into a 50-50 challenge with that foot. It felt fine, to be honest, for a couple of weeks. And this week was the best it felt. And honestly, I stretched, we clashed feet, and Christ, it hurt. I was like, I'm going in goal now. I'm not risking it. I can't be injured again. I thought I was going to be on crutches again. It was nearly a disaster. Adrian's saying we need 20% off beer. We'll see what we can do, Adrian. We'll see who we can partner with. But just be grateful, will you? 20% off Kitbag shirt. What more do you want? There you go. I just want to reassure you, by the way, at no point will I be talking about Brendan and his purple you-know-what. If you don't know what that means, it's to do with a Sandro anecdote that Brendan told on our most recent show with Max Rushton. So do check that out. Either audio and it's on a show on YouTube as well. So really good. I actually think that he's working on a new series of shows, Brendan, called This Is My Life and My Obsession with Sandro. Do you remember Sandro, Stephen?
I do. Not awful. Very, very much one of those water carrier players where he just sat there in the middle of the field and said, and the ball would come to him and he go, I don't need this. What do I do with this? Oh, there's a pair of legs. Smash. You need players like that. Like, God, maybe you don't need him at the moment with Højbjerg and Bentancur playing so well in the middle, but definitely one of those underrated players where he was a lot better at his job than a lot other Spurs players were at theirs. Where he just did the simple things, got the ball and gave it to another white shirt and went, that's all I get paid to do. That's all you want me to do. I'm happy. I'll sit here and watch you score, maybe.
Described adequately as not awful.
Yes.
They don't say that about me on a Tuesday night either. So listen, it is Arsenal Spurs at the slightly frustrating kickoff time, 12:30. Means lots of problems for people with jobs on Saturday watching it, like me. First versus third, 1 point between us. Let's talk about the team news. So Lloris is a doubt, but apparently Conte's told Spurs player we hope to see him on Saturday. And I believe Kulusevski is also a doubt now as well. Mikel Arteta told the media at his pre-match press conference on Friday lunchtime that Thomas Partey, Zinchenko and Tierney are all part of the team after being injury doubts. Is that are they all fairly fit and ready to go?
They all trained this morning, so we hoping they're fit. I suppose with Tierney, he went out with a concussion, so it's one of those ones where it's like, would he be cleared in time? But would he have started anyway with Zinchenko? Partey, who knows? I mean, half it is he injured? I mean, we have to address the elephant in the room. Like, it's one of those ones where it's like, is he injured, or is he not being allowed play, or is he is the head gone because there's a knock at the door every morning? He's waiting on a knock at the door, waiting on a room service from His Majesty's pleasure. Like it's up there. Like, but there's a lot of Arsenal fans who don't want him in the team because of it. Just out of principle.
I mean, forgive my complete ignorance on this, but where is that at? Because
he hasn't been charged yet.
Yeah. Is he still under investigation?
Yes.
Okay. Right.
So it's one of those ones where it's like, what do you do? Like, he's an innocent man till proven guilty, and he's entitled to ply his trade as any innocent man is. But when you go into the details and you see the text messages and you see how he's acted, you're like,
yeah, do you want to go near your brand?
Yeah, but with Mendy, it's different because he was charged. And he's got charged 3 times and he's in court right now over it.
Yeah.
And if I'm Jack Grealish, I'm sending my lawyer straight over to Mirror because they ran a headline which literally said, man had consensual sex with woman. But it was just because it was Jack Grealish and because it was a woman in a party that was subsequently now pressing charges. It's a story apparently when it shouldn't have been. It's literally man and woman have 20 minutes of fun. Like, where the fuck is the story in that? But the fact that nothing's come out yet.
Reporting it as 20 minutes, he'll probably be a bit disappointed, if anything.
The more time he gets for City at the moment, and a similar score, a similar scoring rate. But like I said, it's one of those ones where it's like, do you want a piece of shit in your team?
No. I take it you don't then, Stephen.
No.
Are you that much worse without him?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
That's
yes.
the thing, huh?
And that's the problem. Like it's that line in the sand. It's that line of morality. It's like, well, how much do you care? And the answer is a lot. And it's like, well, are you willing to lose games because of it? And it's like, well, then it becomes, but how much do you care then? And you have to, you can be a hypocrite. You can be, like, does any Chelsea fan complain about the fact that John Terry was a piece of shit for 15 years? Nope.
Yeah. But we're not
more,
them, thankfully. I mean, that's just it. Like, Chelsea fans are a read unto themselves, but it is a tough one.
And yet to find a fairly reasonable Chelsea fan to come on, actually.
The search continues. That'll be a long search. But like I said, it's what do you do? Like, it's same with Basuma, right? Exactly the same thing. Yeah. And then as soon as the investigation ended, and the police came out and said, "Look, there's no charges, lads. He's we can't prove anything. He's free." What Brighton do? Brighton immediately put him on the transfer market, and he bought him. And he bought him because there was no baggage. They're just like, well, he's a free man. He's under no investigation. He's free to play. Why not? And you were right. It's the man has done no crime. At the moment, though, we can't say the same about Partey. And that's slightly unfair to him, but at the same time, it's it does besmirch and foul the name of the club that you support when you see a lad do that, and then the club says nothing. Yeah. The club does nothing about it. Not even a statement where it's like, well, he's free to play. He's free to play. Like, that's a bit
bullshit.
It's a bit bullshit. And like, it's not what it's like. The NFL have been the same problem with Deshaun Watson, HD, and tell you where his idea of having a massage literally he thinks it's mandatory that the endings are happy, and 55 of them came forward and went, no, it's not. And they banned him for 6 games, and everyone went out and went, 6 games? This is rape, like, feck off. So it went up to 11 and $10 million fine. But in the meantime, another team looked at him when he's a really good quarterback and gave him $240 million guaranteed. Yeah. So like some people, like, it's morality is all well and fine, but when it comes to zeros, wins and losses and dollars and pence, unfortunately, professional sports love to turn a blind eye if you can put a ball in the net.
Okay. Spurs team news. I don't want to speak about injuries because I don't want to give the advantage to Arsenal, but for sure we have some problems, physical problems. We've started to know we've also got to just started to play the first game in a run of 13 games in 43 days, which is immense, isn't it, to be honest? For sure, there's a good option because we're going to have midfielders who can play as a 3. Basuma playing. He seems to be warming to this idea of a 3, which means he absolutely won't play it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Kulusevski is obviously an injury there. How much are we going to miss Kulusevski, HG? I'm coming to you with this, Bo, as well.
I mean, when he plays, we play well. Like, when he's on the pitch, we play well, right? I mean, I feel like our best performances this season have had Kulusevski on the pitch. But I don't know if he was going to start tomorrow anyway, even if he was available. I have a feeling that we may well see that 3 in midfield. So it's a weird one because, like, with Kane being the one that we know is going to start, and all of the other options, there are massive reasons as to why we want them to play. right? They all bring something different and something that should improve the team. So yeah, look, it would be a big miss if he's not available at all, and he can't be on the bench. But I don't see him starting. I do think that Conte may well actually go away from that 3-4-3. As much as this is probably just me saying it because I want it to be true. There's like most Spurs fans saw enough weirdly in those 20 minutes versus Leicester where we did it, and we thought, wow, this could be something. Despite the fact that Leicester fell apart and we just took advantage, there was nothing really amazing about what we did. It was more the situation.
And Son's amazing finishing, to be fair, as well, because, let's be fair, he's like 25 yards out with both two of those strikes.
Yeah, but I mean, this is it. So is it Son or is it the 3-5-2?
Yeah,
like people put those two together and think that it was the formation, and Spurs fans want to see Basuma in the team because he's played well against us in the past. We know.
I suppose we remember Liverpool away last season a little bit too, which is very good.
Liverpool at home.
Is it at home? Yeah,
the 3-5 when we got a draw with Liverpool with Winks, Dele Alli, and Dombele.
We played well with that system, I suppose. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah, when we played 3-5-2 at Leicester as well, and we won that game. You remember that, right, Caller? But
not the end of it. No.
Not the end of it. Yeah, but it's we've had success with ropey 3-man midfields, and Bissouma, Bentancur, and Højbjerg is not a ropey 3-man midfield. There are questions as to what they will create, but with Arsenal playing the way they are, to be able to keep the ball away from them is actually not a bad thing. So. Yeah, it's a rough one. Like I feel like we've got probably 15 players that if they're in the starting 11, we're all happy.
Yeah.
So like you can look at 4 players on the bench, and if they're all available, you'll think those 4 will be the ones to come on, and then if there's a 5th because of injuries or whatever, then fair enough. So it's going to be really interesting to see what Conte does if he decides to stick with the plan that's got us where we are, or twists and maybe see something different hopefully in a better way.
Gibbo, what would you go for if this was you? So 3-5-2, and bring Bissouma in, or would you just stick Richarlison in for Kulusevski?
I'd go 3-5-2. I'd put Son and Kane up front, and I'd bring Bissouma in. I think in a lot of games we've played, even the games we've won, I think controlling the midfield has been a big issue for us, and I think we'll probably need to do that tomorrow. So I'd quite like to see the 3 in midfield. I love Kulusevski. I think he's a great player. He will be a miss, like HG said. He'll be a miss off the bench as well. But even if he was fit, I think I'd like to see us go 3-5-2. And if it's, he's not going to take Kane off, is he? So he can switch it to 3-4-3. And if Kulusevski was fit, I always think playing that 3-5-2 gives you 2 decent attacking options off the bench with, like, say, if it was Kulusevski and Richarlison. So I quite like the idea of 3-5-2. I like the idea of us controlling the midfield a bit more than we have been, and freeing up Bentancur and Højbjerg a little bit to support. Really, we should be looking at the wing backs to bomb on as well, because they've got that 3-man midfield. But depends who they are, doesn't it? So
look, are we all? I mean, Stephen. Probably, I don't know if he even really cares, but are we all in the Kane plus Son and not Kane plus Richarlison?
Oh, it'll be Kane plus Son.
Yeah, but I just
Kane plus Son.
Yeah, but is that what you want?
I think you got to pick Son after his cameo, haven't you? And
I think Son looked quite good in sorry, HG. Look, he looks like he's got back into a bit of form, doesn't he? And he is a streaky player. So I'd like to think that he will, he'll obviously continue that bit of a streaky form, in a positive way. But I think he's a better. If he's on it, I think he's better than Richarlison anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think
he's on it.
It's one of those where, if we do win that battle in midfield, then Kane and Son, we've seen it under Mourinho. We know the 2 of them can basically do it by themselves, but Son is also the one who's most easily marked out of a game. Richarlison doesn't get marked out of games. He's always going to be a pest.
Yeah.
And the way, I've seen a few of the Arsenal games, not all of them, but it feels as if outside of that Man United moment, and they were pretty good in that game too, their defence has kind of strolled through a lot of the games. And they haven't had the kind of physical presence that that Richarlison would give them. So I guess it doesn't matter too much because both are good options.
Yeah.
But there is the part of me thinks I want to see Richarlison just bully them a little bit because it is Arsenal away and we never show up.
I know what you mean. It gives you a different dimension defensively as well. He will press all the way, whereas Son, his press is a bit hit and miss. To be fair,
it is kind of like stick or twist. Both will end up doing something that can help you, but I worry about Richarlison being a red card waiting to happen. There's so many levels to this, but it's nice that we have 4 attackers that we think any of these would work, right? If you said that it was Kulusevski and Son tomorrow, I'd be like, all right, we've got a chance. I'm not unhappy with that, but I am leaning towards Richarlison over Son. Like 20 minutes against a haphazard Leicester side and headers against Brazil's under-21s for South Korea isn't enough for me yet. It's I think I might go Richarlison, despite the fact that Kane and Son clearly have the understanding that they do.
Yeah.
76 people watching already. Please do smash that like button. Who was about to talk then?
Not me. It was like there's also the added dimension that Arsenal now are playing the way Mikel Arteta wants to play, which is it's not a carbon copy of Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, but it's close enough. Like, especially when he sees Zinchenko playing centre midfield half the time. And you're like, we've got 2 at the back and 5 up front. We're like, what the is this? But it's working. And if there's a team maybe in Europe that knows how to counter Manchester City, it's he.
Yeah.
So, like, it's, like we've seen he, have one shot on target and beat them. We've seen he go to the Etihad and beat them. Playing very compact, very narrow, and then waiting for a counter. And it wouldn't surprise me if Conte's gone, well, it worked against City. It'll work against this B-Tech City. It'll work against a team that isn't as good at doing it. And I think he'd probably go 5-3-2 instead of with wing backs playing very, very, very safe. And then Højbjerg, Bentancur, Bissouma as almost 3 defensive midfielders. And then Kane and Richarlison in front of them, just running. And then if you need a goal, bring on Son. Or if Kulusevski is fit, bring him on for 20 minutes. Like if you're 1-0 down with 20 minutes to go, take off Bissouma or Bentancur, bring on Son, and then go 3-4-3 and then attack. But the longer you can keep it 0-0, the better it is for you. So I wouldn't surprise me if Conte just set up with the Maginot line and just drew a line 30 yards out from goal and treated it like a City game when we're not attacking. We don't care. Have the ball. Have 80% of it. We don't care. If we get one shot with Harry Kane 25 yards out, we'll take it.
And this is it. Like, I don't personally, the idea of giving this Arsenal team the ball against our back 3 or back 6 or back 8 or whatever it turns out to be, I worry about that. Right?
But that's the way you're built. That's what Conte is building. He's building each counterattack.
Not every team is as bad as Wolves. Or whoever we've played this season, right? And so, at some point, you just think, okay, yes, it does work, but even
let the leash off and go for it a bit.
What we do, HG, isn't it? In my opinion, is we sort of we allow teams to grow, even the poor teams we've played, because we give them so much of the ball. We've allowed them to grow in confidence, but Arsenal won't need encouragement to grow in. They're top of the league. They won't need that. They'll be, from the first minute, they'll be on it. Like Spurs are sort of let other teams have the ball, and then they've grown and thought, there's a chat, obviously, which is what you're trying to do, draw them on, but they get confident, and Arsenal won't need any encouragement. I don't like giving the other team having as much of the ball as they do, but, I don't think we want to be doing that tomorrow. Try and impose ourselves on Arsenal, really.
I think Kerry wants you to turn your mic down.
Yeah, how's that? It's a studio mic. I've got my radio settings on. I've got my radio voice on. It's hi, welcome to Midlands 103 with Stephen Bradley. So how's that? Is that better? I can turn it down even more.
Lovely, that's
good. That's great. Thank you.
That's great. No bother. But yeah, like I said, that's the whole point. That's why Spurs bought Richarlison for 60 million. You're in a position where it's like, look, we're going to have 13 games in 43 days. We don't have to play the same 11 all the time. So let's be specific. Let's play the best team for this game, and then go to the next one. And then we didn't play Kulusevski. We didn't play Son. Well, that's the 2 for the next game. and rotate and rotate and rotate. And whilst Arsenal are trying to make sure that Gabriel Jesus is covered in plaster and bubble wrap and make sure he doesn't get injured, and Man City are hoping
up against Romero tomorrow, hasn't he? I mean, he's going to get clonked. There's absolutely no doubt about it. He's going to go through a war tomorrow with Romero on him.
Yeah, and if Arsenal lose Gabriel Jesus, never mind first. That's fourth gone. So you've got options. Use them. You've got the front three. Your front three is a position of strength. Use it. Like Conte says, you've got so many games coming up. It would Kulusevski can't start, even if he's 50-50. He can't, because if he pulls his hamstring, he's gone for 6 weeks. Then you have to start the other three, and then you've lost that position of strength. So you have to be like, it's a weird position Tottenham are in, because obviously you want to attack. It's Arsenal. You want to beat us. Totally get it, but draw here wouldn't be the worst. I don't think for either side. It's early in the season. Yeah. We're both looking at Chelsea and going, we both think United. We all think that United are just waiting to fall apart because they can't play Eriksen every week. And then it's, okay, are Liverpool going to keep having to play Henderson Milner every week? Then suddenly second and third are there. And if we're just smart about it and we don't make any stupid mistakes like playing forward at the back at Arsenal or going to City and trying something new, you have to. It's one of those ones where it's like, okay, never mind the history, never mind anything. Give us a 0-0. We'll sit back. We'll take all the shots. We'll have 30% of the ball. We'll have 2 shots on target, and we won't care. And we'll still be third after the end of the day. And we've got a nice little handy run of fixtures going after that. And Arsenal can go swat off to Manchester City next week and get bet by 6.
Yeah, no, I mean, any away fix. I mean, it's that kind of Champions League rule, isn't it? Like, you win your home games and you draw away, and we that's pretty much what we've done. We've drawn 2 away games, and I think we only won the Forest one because we've played more at home now. And so,
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's like any Spurs fan. I mean, like all the 1-1s we've had in the recent years, where Spurs have scored first, and at the end, Arsenal have got an equaliser like the 75th minute or whatever. Like, I don't want to see that, because that's also heartbreaking because you think it's going to happen, but at 0-0. Yeah, you're right. We're all sitting here thinking we'd all take 0-0 tomorrow because it serves 100%. Our seasons perfectly. And it's, but I can't get excited for this game because I've been hurt almost too many times.
Well, I'm not going to talk to you about it.
We've got to start. We've got to start turning up, haven't we? At the with the what we're all expecting Tottenham to become. We've got to start turning up at the Emirates and at the Bridge and at Anfield. Too often we've gone to these places and just shit the bed and been fucking awful. We've got to start turning up, haven't we? And why not tomorrow? I mean, we've been saying that for years, but we have got to start going there and get results, decent results.
Tomorrow, indeed, absolutely agree with you. In terms of your team news, Stephen, Smith Rowe out. Is that a blow?
Yeah. I mean, he's played 24 minutes this season.
Is that all?
Yeah, and it's the one fear we've had with him for 5 years. It's like, he's a wonderful player. He's a wonderful player who walks into the team when he's not limping.
Yeah.
And he can't stay fit. And this is another example. He's literally outgrown his groin.
Yeah.
Literally. And, as you do. Like he had such a growth spurt 6 months ago where his groin's went, no. And they tried managing it, no. And then they say, oh, yeah, he'll be back in full training in December, which means he'll be back playing January.
Yeah.
So that's 3 months gone. In the most bit now, of course, World Cup, he wasn't going anyway. Yeah. I mean, if Gareth Southgate's not going to pick Jadon Sancho, for fuck's sake, he's not going to pick Emile Smith-Rowe. But it's one of those ones where it's like, yeah, again, we had a position of strength as where we had 2 really good left midfielders, 2 really good central midfielders, and Saka on the right, and now Smith-Rowe's gone. So now that means probably Martinelli's going to have to play every week, or Odegaard's going to have to play every week, or Saka's going to have to play every week. And you can't keep doing that because, again, they're young lads, they'll get injured. So, yeah,
you could get lucky.
Nice.
You could get lucky, Steve. Like Leicester had that, didn't they? You could have that. You could be lucky enough to not get any injuries.
I always think Leicester didn't have European football, though, did they?
Leicester, their last 11 games, like Leicester lost to us on Valentine's Day. We celebrated like we won the league. And we were like, okay, we're 4 points down. We have a game in hand. We've just beaten them. They'll fall apart, no bother. Leicester's next 11 games, they won 10, drew 1, and conceded 1 goal. Like, that's champions. That stuff wins champions. Wins championships. Arsenal fell away, you fell away, Chelsea fell away. They just kept winning and winning and winning and winning and winning, and they won the league by 8 points. Like we all called it a fluke because it's Leicester, and they'll never win the league again. But they were the best team in the league after Valentine's Day by a considerable margin.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't struggle with. I'm not taking that away from them, but all their main players were fit.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, Martinelli's got to play every game and stuff like that. Well, hopefully for you,
I think for our unbeaten season, I think that we picked like something like the same 11 30 times. Mm-hmm. Something stupid like that. Like Henry and Bergkamp, they all played 30 games. Like that's what you need. You need your best 11 to play 30 league games at least. And you can't do it in a condensed season like this where you're playing Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday, Wednesday. You can't pick the same 11. You just can't. You run into the ground.
The crazy thing is, it's almost a better season to be in the Europa League.
Yes.
Because
it's Sunday, Thursday.
Here we are thinking, you know what, like the Champions League game in Frankfurt on Tuesday night is super important if we want to get through, right? We can't really go and lose that game. And yet, obviously, we can't even think about it right now because we're playing the team that's top of the league away from home, the arch rivals. It's just the difference between rotating between what Potts used to do of like the side he liked and the side he didn't like.
Yeah,
that's what Arsenal could do right now. And in the Europa League, they're still probably good enough because I don't know who you've got this week, but was it Bodo Glimt or someone? PSV, I don't know.
Put them all after the game in an oxygen tank and give them an inhaler. That's what I say.
Can I just ask this question? Like, I don't know if this is going to be brought up later.
I don't think that's true.
I do. I agree with that. Yeah, I think I said it the other week. I would rather be, and this is just being a Spurs fan, going into that game in our position. I wouldn't want to play this game with us being top and Arsenal below us. I think this will suit us with them being top and us being below them.
Don't make any difference. It's 1 point.
Yeah, it does.
And there's 6 games gone. Look, the reality is most level-headed, intelligent Arsenal fans, admittedly, that's not
football
that
fans, mate.
many.
The majority ain't level. The majority of football fans aren't level-headed.
You can see good teams and bad teams, and you can see that Spurs have got a good side. I would absolutely take a point at Arsenal.
Maybe not. The fans won't be happy with a draw, but I think Arsenal will be. They usually beat us. They will be expecting to beat us at their place.
I think the style of play, the manner in which the game is going to go, will help Arsenal that fact because we're going to have a lot of the ball. So we're going to be making chances, and we're going to be seeing like if it was Tottenham and Arsenal, and we were going to see the game that we're going to see tomorrow, which would be Arsenal with a lot of the ball. I think it would take a lot less for the crowd to get up, if you know what I mean. Yes, you're third, but as Paige was saying before the game, like the football you're playing right now is awful. And if we were playing, it's winning, and you don't care. But at some point, like if the results weren't there, it'd be the same with Mourinho, where it's like I'm not paying this for that. I'm not, but I know Connor's put in quite a few quid into his box, and it's like I'm not paying thousands of pounds every year to watch this dross. And at least when you go to an Arsenal game now, they're trying to play. Might not work all the time, but they're trying. They're doing it with a young side that is learning. So even if we don't win, even if it's 70 minutes gone, if we have 15 shots and it's at least we're on top, I don't think that crowd will get on them at all. I think they'll just keep supporting them. It's not like it was under Emery or the late Wenger years, where it's like, this football is shite. This is brutal. It's brutal to watch. You can't really get into it. You're waiting for a pattern to play, and the results are not going your way as well. You're watching teams like Burnley, like Leicester, like Fulham, like walking up in Crystal Palace, Villa, play better football than you and beat you. It's like I'm not paying £100 to watch this. And as a result, because we'll be on the attack, it'll be harder for Arsenal fans to get on their back unless Tottenham score. Even then, it'll be like, look, come on, we know you're trying. And there's been a sense in very much so, the last 6 months of Arsenal fans buying into this young team, where it's like, okay, they're trying. Let's give them a chance. Let's put aside the last 10 years. Let's actually support them and get behind them, as opposed to just having the PTSD of waiting for have 40 minutes of the ball and doing nothing, and then the opposition just waltzing up the field and scoring with one shot. Like we've seen that film 100 times. That's kind of been put to the back of the head now, and we're almost like, okay, they're trying. They're going to fuck up occasionally, and they've even forgiven Granit Xhaka. They've given him a second chance. So I don't think, like I say, if Arsenal were going to set up in a way to defend and keep Tottenham off them, then I think the fans would be a lot quicker to jump on them if Tottenham score first. But if it's 30 minutes of Arsenal pressure and then you get a long ball to Kane, he punts one into the top corner from 30 yards, we were like, right, okay, stand up, we have to sing it out.
Sorry, H, you carry on.
No, I feel if there's one club that has something to lose, or the most to lose, it's us. Because if we lose a game, suddenly everyone's talking about Conte this, Conte that. Like, is he going to stay? We'll have the same stuff we've had for the last 3 months because we lost a game to rivals that usually beat us, but that won't play a role. And if Arsenal lose, I think there's still this understanding that Conte is a better manager than Arteta, so Arteta's still got to prove himself.
Plucky, they're so young. They're so young.
They lost to Man United. They lost to Man United.
The youngest team in the league.
Do you see what I mean? There is this kind of like, we are supposed to be there now because we've got Conte, right? So if Conte goes out, if we go and win the game, then we'll be top of the league before City have played. We're top of the league, and suddenly people will start asking those questions. The questions I don't want anyone talking about until March, if it even gets that far, because Spurs have always been the type of club that struggles under pressure. I don't want that. I want to win the game and I want to go above Arsenal, but there are downsides to it for Spurs. And if Arsenal lose, I'm not sure there's much of a downside really for them, because it will still be, Arteta spent a whole load of money. He's got a new team. He's trying, and they've played so well this season. This idea of like being a flat track bully the way that Arsenal might be, will still be good enough to get them Champions League football if they beat those teams.
That's been our problem. That's been our problem for 10 years. We'll beat City occasionally. We'll beat Liverpool occasionally. We'll beat most times, but we'll still probably lose it at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But then we'll go to Burnley and get smacked, and Leicester and get smacked, and Villa get smacked, and then it's like, well, the whole point. We were 4 points clear with 2 games to go.
Yeah, and the things, and plus
lost to Newcastle, lost to Everton.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the fact that you're playing well, the fact that everyone, I said before the Brentford game, we talked about it, and I was like, Arsenal are going to win easily. And everyone else thought it was going to be a difficult game like it was last season. I'm like, no, Arsenal aren't that team anymore. They will outpass you and outplay most of those teams. And if you have a couple of injuries, then you might see what you saw at the end of last season, where they'd lose games they probably shouldn't. And I think you had like 5 wins and 5 draws, or 5 losses from your last 10. Like that kind of thing could come back. But if they treat the Europa League as a chance to blood the players you've got in the summer, the youngsters like Vieira and Marquinhos, then it doesn't matter. I just maybe it is because I'm a Spurs fan and I'm nervous. I just know we've seen the stories this season. If anything ever happens at Spurs that's somewhat negative, it's always is Conte staying. Why is he signed a new contract? Conte, Kane, whatever it is, you pick your poison.
Even though Conte came out and said, I'm happy at Spurs this week.
Yeah, of course, but it doesn't matter it's never matter what he says.
He could change his name.
He'll change like that.
Tottenham Hotspur.
I mean, he normally says absolutely nothing, so it's an improvement. But
weird, isn't it, though, H? Because obviously, how you're feeling is how I usually feel. But tomorrow, I'm not saying I'm confident we'll win, but I'm confident we'll get something there tomorrow, a positive result, which is strange because I'm never like that. We never win now.
There's still too much, Gibbo. Stop it now.
But there's a chat, like, you'd have taken this, like, at the start, I know we're only 8 games in, but you'd have taken this, right? Like, nobody's saying you're playing well, right? But you're third. Yeah. Like, you're getting results. And you've got a world-class manager, you've got a really good squad. And if you win tomorrow, like, you will be considered, again, City... a different, Hurling Haaland's a different. The man's a cyborg, for fuck's sake. But if he gets injured, they've no striker, and then you're looking at it. Can they then withstand? Because we've 21 senior players, they've 19. Like they're going to be playing the same team again and again and again. So the idea that they're invincible is now the way. But at some point, Tottenham do need, if they are going to break out of this repetitive cycle of, we're not going to win the league. Told you, we're not going to win the league. Lose again. Told you. They do need
to go and do it.
Signature victories. They do need something in their recent memory that goes, oh, actually, hang on. Arsenal are really good. I know you wouldn't say that, but Arsenal are really good. We pissed on them. We went to their place, we bet them.
3-0 last season, I think.
Yeah, and it's one of those ones where it's like, they need that just for their own head, or maybe even for your own head.
Oh yeah,
I think Arsenal fans need it a little bit as well after we humiliated them last season.
Totally agree. Yeah,
they humiliated us though, didn't they, early in the season?
But that didn't count.
That was fucking awful.
When it really counted, Gibbo. When it really counted, that was.
I don't know if this makes any difference tomorrow, but obviously, but you never want to lose to Arsenal. But if we lose tomorrow, if Arsenal lose tomorrow, there's it's 8 games in. Do you know what I mean? And the points can be made. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And maybe that's part of why I feel, it's not going to be the be all and end all because it's early on.
I don't feel it's the be all and end all tomorrow.
No, don't get me wrong. It will be people going into work and, and with Arsenal fans and all that side of it will. But like you said about if you just put your head on and think, logically about it.
Yeah. Take the point, go home.
Move on.
Just thanks, Ed.
Go again.
I mean, we went to City and we beat them. I mean, we conceded that late equaliser and then we went and still won. That's not Spursy, and that was Conte. And it was 6 months ago, right? Yeah. And then we went to Liverpool and it was a deflected equaliser from them. Otherwise, we'd have won that game too. So, we're all battling this, like what's going to win? Is it Spursy or is it Conte? Right? That's basically that's the future of Spurs. There. Who's going to win that battle? Which force is stronger? And if we go and win tomorrow, I'm not going to say if we're going to win tomorrow.
When we win tomorrow,
we have to then acknowledge that maybe Conte is a stronger force, and that's going to be scary, right? It is weird because there is a comfort from being a Spurs fan for 30 years. There is
indeed.
Well, we need to stop being Spursy then. At times.
We will stop using.
I don't think we have been for a while.
Yeah, we'll stop using the word Spursy when you win.
That's the key.
Unfortunately, it is as simple as that.
That's what will happen. Yeah,
you will continue to be called Spursy as long as you stay getting into decent positions like you are now, and not taking advantage of it repeatedly. Because all the big sides over the last 20 years have been in this position and have won the league for it, apart from ye. So it's one of those ones where it's not that you're due one, but you're certainly due to be a lot close. I know you come, was it second twice?
No, just once.
Once.
Yeah.
You finished above us the other time when we nearly come second.
Yeah,
there is also this point. It does make me laugh. We've been the superior force in the league for the last 7 years. We should be.
The issue is like going to the Emirates tomorrow. We don't go to those places often enough and get good results, do we? City we do, fair enough. We've got the sign over City.
City we did.
We drew it.
But still a good result. A draw at Liverpool.
Yeah,
a good result.
But I mean, those are outliers. We don't go to City and beat them. We beat them at home, but we don't go there and beat them, right? So, there is this kind of we saw it, and we're like, okay, well, wasn't that the last game that City lost all season? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't happen to either side. So, expecting it to happen future, it's just weird. I know that this is Conte's first and all that. I mean,
that is a shocker, HG. What do you think of that? 43 likes, 97 people watching.
I couldn't
hit the like button.
Hit the like button. Ignore HG. I'm going to boot him if he says that.
What do you mean, ignore me? What do you want me to say? Spurs to win 3-0. Conte to bear his ass on the centre circle. I don't know, but
that would be interesting.
I would be curious.
Not his style.
No.
Do you think Arteta, the great Lego figure, will go with 4 at the back or match up with?
Oh no, that 5 at the back's gone. That's he's like, nah, fuck this. If I'm gonna get sacked, I'm gonna get sacked playing the football I want to play. Even he took the lesson from last season where he's like, nah, I'm chopped and changing too much. I'm bringing in heads. I'm bringing in adults. I'm getting rid of the kids, the children out of the team, the Aubameyangs, etc., and I'm bringing in adults, and we're going to play proper football. and we're going to act properly, and we're going to take responsibility, and we're going to play bravely. And if we lose, we lose. But we're going to go down swinging. We're not going to go down pissing our pants like we did at the end of last season. So he brings in, Zinchenko, brings in Gabriel Jesus, winners, and proper footballers who are leaving a team because they're not being appreciated enough. He's bringing in players that want to make their own point and stand out and say that I'm not just a system player. And then a couple of young lads. And then Saliba, I mean, we hoped he'd turn into this. We didn't think he would, but even at Saint Etienne, they were saying this lad's the next Van Dijk. I'm not saying he's the best Van Dijk, but in terms of style of play, he's the only lad that's played like Van Dijk since Van Dijk.
Van Dijk this season or Van Dijk last season?
Van Dijk this year is basically playing with one leg. I mean, that knee injury 2 years ago has robbed him of that yard of pace, which made him the imperial defender that he was, where he just saunters 60 yards to get the ball. That's what Saliba's kind of doing. Not to anywhere near that level, but he's having that effect on the defenders around him the same way Van Dijk had that effect on the defenders around him when he turned up at Liverpool, where everyone went, oh, shit. Oh, we can just push 20 yards further up the field now. Happy days. We've got fucking Maldini behind us. And then when, played 29, won 28, drew 1 in the league. Like that. It is mentality. It's a completely different mentality that this Arsenal team has, where it's like, shit, we're losing. It's okay. David, is Saliba better than Maguire?
I'm better than Maguire.
Wow. Is he?
Connor's broken foot is better than Maguire. It's one of those ones where Saliba comes in and then the atmosphere changes, the mentality changes, and suddenly Arsenal aren't waiting for a mistake to happen. They're waiting for a chance to atone for it. Gabriel scores, makes an absolute ricket for a goal. 10 minutes later, goes up for a corner and scores. It's little stuff like that that just builds chemistry and builds team spirit and gets players, focused on the team instead of when it's Aubameyang and Lacazette up front and they're looking for their own goals. And it's Ozil who's looking to create for himself. And it's Alexis Sanchez who is playing like a school kid. They're playing like a team for once, for the first time in...
So to answer the question, you'll play a 4 at the back then?
Yes.
Well, that's good news, isn't it, HB? Because we love playing against a 4, don't we?
Yeah, we do. But when we play with the front 3, and we may not. So you've got that as well. Right?
Yes.
I mean, it's like Spurs under Aussie would be going 3-4-3, and we'll play always. Kulusevski will be right wing back, and off we go. And there are obviously reasons for doing that because we know that it can work. But no, it's the time for pragmatism is surely tomorrow, and so I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 3-4-3, and that it could help us. But and it would. You'd eliminate that idea. I'd love to see Spurs play 4 at the back. I know we're not going to, right?
No,
but the idea of that 3 in midfield and still having a front 3 would be wonderful. But that's not going to happen. So can we just play with 12? Would that be okay? Would anyone really notice? Because if Son's no good, he doesn't touch the ball anyway, so he would just be there. But it's I feel like you can either be defensive and hope, or slightly more defensive and hope. It's such a hard game to call because, as Gibbo says, we don't show up for this fixture. We just don't. And how are we going to do that? With Bissouma's not the type of guy to show up, for a fight. That's just in his game. He's very much the calm presence that you wonder, where is that fight coming from? Kane and Son haven't done it. That's why I'm so much on the Richarlison thing.
Gibbo's man crush Højbjerg will be up for
Hey, he'll turn up, mate. Don't you worry. He'll put a shift in tomorrow and get about and do what he needs to do.
the crowd.
Don't worry. But I'm not saying he'll create anything or he'll win the game. But
not his job.
He'll do what he needs to do, mate. Don't worry about that.
Listen, important stuff. There's 100 people watching, only 20-something likes. So please do smash that like button. It really helps us. Takes you like a second. It's a click. Doesn't cost anything. It's free. Best things in life are free, like the cheese room. And the other important thing is we've got to predict the starting lineups. So guests first. Stephen, how will you line up against your victors?
Loaded question as always. Ramsdale, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White. I know Tomiyasu's fit, but White's done well at right back. The person that we can't mention because he's still under charge by the police. Odegaard will be back. Xhaka, who is playing really well, and I can't believe that I'm saying that, but he is. And then it'll be Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, and Starboy Bukayo Saka.
Is it
I'd
time
be
for
shocked.
Xhaka to do Xhaka things? Because he normally
Well, I
does
mean,
against Spurs.
No, but if him and Richarlison are on the same pitch, then one of them's getting sent off. Maybe both, twice. Like there's no chance that they will both look at each other and go, right, which one's starting it, me or you? They could do anything, but that's why you would probably play Richarlison to get Xhaka to do something stupid. Like there's a lot of interesting side bets that will be going on during this game, where it's like maybe that's why you would start Richarlison and Kane. If you're going to play two up front, you'd start Richarlison and Kane, just because you'd leave Kane up top and tell Richarlison go get the ball. Just go get the ball. Like I said, we'll play eight back. Yeah, literally. Act like a little
of course, you've got Romero. Hopefully back on form with us. But Gibbo, do you want to do the honours with your starting lineup? How would you line up? Not what you think Conte will do. What would you line up with? And then HG, same question to you.
I think I'll go Lloris in goal, obviously. Romero, Dyer, Langley. Left wing.
Langley. Hang on. Let me just challenge that one.
Well, Davis is injured, so who else is he going to
be? I thought he's got a knock. I didn't think he was out.
He's out, mate. And
he's definitely out.
I thought he broke some, Annie.
Oh, even better. I love Langley.
Perisic, left wing back.
Yeah.
Emerson, right wing back. Just for his defensive, which is probably going to.
Stephen, you're shaking your head. You know what Emerson?
You can't play Emerson right back against this Arsenal team. If you're going to go now,
he's our best defensive. He's our best. Then I'd play three in midfield. I'd go Basuma, Højbjerg, and Bentancur, and then I'd have.
Emerson will play right back.
Yeah.
Right wing back, 100%. And let's be fair, he dominated the game at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on that side.
If you're going to have the lion's share of possession, he will be a decent option there. I mean, personally, if we were going to go for it, I'd like to see Jed Spence play, but there is not a cat and mouse chance he will play. There'd be not a great chance he'll be on the bench, but then I'd just play like the three I said in midfield, and I'd probably go Kane and Son up front just for what they've done before, but there's really good shout for playing Richarlison and Kane, but I'm just going to say Son and Kane.
I'm sure people told me Jed Spence was being signed to go straight in the team. I'm sure of it.
People definitely said that, caller. Yes, you're right.
This nagging doubt, and I told them they were talking nonsense. Anyway, HG, anything different to Gibbo?
What would I do?
Yeah, you're always a bit left field, to be fair.
So. I think, it's not an easy decision, right? Like, what are we trying to do from the game? If we're trying to hit them on the break, then maybe Sessegnon is a better choice at left wing back than Perisic. If we're chasing the goal, then you want Perisic on the side. If we don't have any pace, if Son doesn't play, then you're going to need Sessegnon, right, to offer some kind of threat, maybe. And he's not a great attacking player, so it's like if I'm Arsenal, and I've got the ball and I'm playing in Spurs' half, who am I worried about having, right? Perisic does not have the pace to get you and hurt you. He can hurt you when he's got the ball, but you've got to get it to him in a decent area, which we may not be able to do. So I definitely think 3-5-2, considering Arsenal's strength, clearly is their midfield, right? I mean, if they get the ball, they can find the attack and they can hurt you. So we have to do something to deal with that. I just think that if Arsenal were playing with the back two, as Stephen said, right, where they like to push Zinchenko forward and Ben White gets involved and it's just Gabriel and Saliba there, then I want Richarlison there to give them something to worry about. I really do. I don't think they're going to worry that much about Son. If Arsenal's got the ball, why would you worry about Son? He can't hurt you. But Richarlison will make their life more difficult, and I think that's a massive part of it for Spurs. So it's Lloris, if he's fit, I'm sure he will be, but Lloris, Romero, Dyer, Longley, it is going to be Emerson. I don't think I don't think we're going to see the Perisic, Sessegnon both that we saw against Leicester. So Emerson, and then the three that we know, and I'd probably go Sessegnon to start with, and hope that Perisic would come on later if we're in a position where that can happen. And obviously Kane and Richarlison up top.
I agree with your Sessegnon selection. I think he'll play. He's also done quite well in recent games, but I think he'll be. I think Perisic.
I don't think Sessegnon is
duty as well.
Sessegnon is not even half the player that Perisic is. Like if we can keep the ball in midfield, then you want Perisic. If we can literally maybe force Arsenal back, I don't see it. Arsenal seem to know the system really well, and they'll get the ball back, and then where's your outlet?
HG Gibbo, either one of you, do you think we'll play Perisic at right wing back?
Please no. I mean, we might, but please no.
I don't know. I wouldn't.
I won't
put it out. No.
Do you want Martinelli running at Perisic? I don't.
No. Saying that, no. I think Martinelli's a great player. So, do you want him running it? That's what I said about Emerson. Yeah. Well, Emerson's defensive qualities for all the stick he gets are better than all the other options in that right wing back, aren't they?
But if you're going to attack us, it's behind Zinchenko. Yeah. That's where the space is. That's where we give up the space. We let Zinchenko go into centre midfield, and then Ben White will drop back, and we'll almost play three at the back. But it's where Anthony killed us from United, where he just had the freedom of the right wing to himself, and he ended up cutting in. So it's pick your poison. It's like, do you want to just close down the left wing completely and say, right, okay, we're not going to attack that wing, your right wing. We're not going to attack that wing at all, and then you let Zinchenko have the ball in centre mid. Or you play an attacking option at right wing back and gamble at the fact that you've got Gabriel Martinelli running at him.
That's where we'll miss Kulusevski then, isn't it? Because he would have played on the right.
Yeah. Yeah. If Kulusevski doesn't play, that's a huge win for Arsenal. Because if he was fit, you play 3-4-3, Kulusevski would literally just sit 10 yards behind Zinchenko and roar at him, go on, run. Go on, I'm grand here, don't worry about me. And Zinchenko wouldn't be able to move. And it would limit Arsenal completely.
He's not blessed with amazing pace either, though, Kulusevski.
No, he can beat a man, though, can't he?
But he can beat a man. And Zinchenko's not the greatest defender in the world. He's the pick to play centre midfield.
He's a midfielder. He's not really a fullback.
He is a midfielder, yeah. So, that's where maybe losing Kulusevski hurts you the most. It's the fact that you might not be able to play the right back you want to play because you don't have someone to attack the glaringly open space in Arsenal's defence. And but again, it's will Conte care? It's like, let them have all the space they want. I'm playing 9 at the back. I don't care. I want 0-0. It's like I said, it's pick your poison. You can't really play Son right wing because the last year or two, he's still world class. I'd still take him, but
he's better off the left.
He doesn't run, and he doesn't run as much as he used to. I don't know whether that's just because he's barely been injured for 7 years and he's finally starting to run out of gas, which would be understandable. But he's not the lightning quick winger that he was, as well as the fantastically two-footed striker that he is too. Like maybe the needle on the fuel tank is starting to go down a little bit, and as a result, you could give a yard extra, not much, but you can sit off him a little bit because he's not going to run at you for 90 minutes. He's going to run at you for 60.
I think that's wishful thinking, Stephen.
He's been in poor form, mate. That's the issue with Son. There's nothing to do with how good he's not. He's just had a period. He's had a period of poor form. Okay. That's what.
He's certainly no slower than he was.
No.
Okay.
He's very.
Well, if it is bad form, then again,
he's just not been at it.
He's very. What was it that there's a lad on Twitter? He's very. But his XG is average.
Always been streaky.
But it comes in streaks. He's a very weird analytical player like that, where it's like he'll get you 20 goals, but you've no idea where those 20 goals are going to come. They could all come at the start or at the end, but he won't get a goal, 0, a goal, 0, a goal, 0. It'll either be 10 in 10 games and nothing for a month.
It's like the hat-trick he got in the last game. Two of them, he had no business scoring. No. And the one that was the easiest chance, he barely got it past the keeper. That is Son. That is exactly who he is. If you put him one-on-one, I don't think he's going to score, right? But if you give him a bit of space, 18, 20 yards out, then I think he'll find the corner. It's a weird one. Like, do we think, like, we talked about Spurs having this, three-man midfield because we want to deal with what Arsenal are doing. And we've talked in previous games about whether Dyer could be that kind of David Luiz kind of figure where he moves into midfield if we have the ball. Now he doesn't have the passing range of Luiz. That's not really his thing.
Or the free kicks. Or the hair.
If you can do that, right, then it allows you to play three up top. And you can have that kind of best of both worlds. And you can say to Longley and Romero, you deal with Gabriel Jesus, right? Like that's the thing. And like in a perfect world, because like playing three centre-backs is clearly what Conte wants to do. But we've talked before, like Romero was always the middle centre-back at Atalanta, and he's not been that for Spurs. And, he did that for Atalanta all the time, would bring the ball into midfield. And we have this awful situation. We've got three centre-backs, and none of them really want to progress the ball. So they pass it forward to Højbjerg and Bendiger, who don't really want to progress the ball. And there's the issue. Like, one of you's got to say, right, this is my job, and you have to trust me that I'm capable of doing it. So, like, if Kulusevski is out, and we want to say, look, there is space behind Zinchenko that we know there's going to be there. And do we say, right, Richarlison, you've played down the left for Everton plenty of times. Son has clearly played down the right and been successful. He scores. I feel like I'm more comfortable with him cutting in on his left and finding the far corner than I am the other side, even though he's right-footed. That you say, like, that's the gamble. That would really be like Spurs saying, we're going to come and try and outplay you. That's not Conte at all. Right,
no,
but that's what he did with Chelsea. Like he said, like that midfield when David Luiz moved forward, it allowed the rest of the team to do more things. And actually, can we just have tomorrow the first 12v12 game? I genuinely would like to see that. Like Arsenal can add an extra player in, and we can play all the ones we want to play in some way, and just say, we'll have 12v12. It's fair.
How many
hurting any other team if we choose to do that?
Let me ask you a question, Stephen. How many Spurs players will get in the Arsenal team? And a follow-on question.
Romero won.
A follow-on question. How many world-class players do you have?
World-class players, we have none yet. If you ask me that question in 2 years, it'll be 2 or 3.
Saliba will have left by then. He'd have signed for City.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yes, and like
for another reject that can't get in the City team properly.
Yeah, like Martinelli and Saka would be world class in 2 years. I don't think I would be surprised unless they get the arsenicalitis and they get injured.
I'm really not sure about Saka.
Did you see the Germany game when he came on?
Saka is a quality player.
He is. But will he develop to be world class? Be consistent? I'm not sure.
He's 21.
I know, but it goes wrong for a lot. It goes wrong.
True.
So many times with England, we have these 21-year-old talents. They're amazing footballers, and then it just goes wrong. I hope for England's sake he is. I hope for your sake he's not.
But they're the two. And if Gabriel Jesus plays 40 games, you might say 3, but that's it. Odegaard needs a right foot. Smith Rowe needs a cadaver so he can just borrow body parts off. Partey needs a lawyer. And then, like I said, Spurs, like I said, Romero won. Just put Romero beside Saliba. There's your back line for 5 years. Thanks very much. Good luck. 1 left back, 1 right forward. There, sorted. Happy days. Kane, Son are automatic choices. Like you put Kane with Saliba, Kane with Saka, Odegaard, and Martinelli around him would be devastating. Like there's your front four for a decade, easy. That would be about it. I think, like I said, we have the potential to have 3 or 4. That's why he brought in Conte. Really, it's like, look, we've got 3 world-class players. Win us something with them, will you? We've tried everyone else. Like no one is going to say, no one's going to turn down Harry Kane, even at 29. Like if he even runs down his contract, Bayern Munich going to go, yeah, come here.
He'll play till he's 35. I mean, I think Sonny will too. I think
Kane will beat the England goal scoring record, obviously.
Oh, easily.
He'll beat Shearer's 260 odd easily. Whether he'll get to who is it that's top with 360s? Is it Dixie Dean or someone like that? He'll play till he's 40 just because he'll do a Rooney. He'll play Cam at 36 with no legs, no bother. He's that good at number 10, where he's like he won't need pace. He'll just sit there and go, right, I'm 6'3", control the ball out, right, you have it. Little dinking the ball down. He'd do what Rooney did.
10 penalties a season, no problem.
Would you not take just going back to the question? Would you not take Lloris over
Ramsdale?
He's a better keeper than Ramsdale, surely.
He is a better keeper than Ramsdale, but Lloris can't pass water.
He's got better.
He's got, yes, but we bought Ramsdale specifically because he's a good passer of the ball. We've bought a sweeper keeper. Ramsdale is erratic as a saver. He can be brilliant and he can be shocking at both times. But good God, he's got a left foot like a sand wedge, where it's like 60-yard ping, 50-yard pass, ping.
Yeah.
And you need that playing the way we play. You need your like with City with Ederson.
And he's dad's a keeper.
Sorry? Yeah. And like it's
Lloris saves us points though. Every season he does have a stinker now and then. But I would say Lloris is probably worth 8 to 10 points a season for us.
Yeah.
Some of the saves he makes.
He's still really, 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 like I said, world class it's where you define it. World class is that arbitrary, is he top 3, top 5, whatever? Like is he as good as Alisson or Ederson? No. He's still really bloody good. Like you're not going to get rid of him.
He's only not as good as those two though at the kicking, really.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see Ederson or Alisson play
his
for
primary function as a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I hasten to add.
Yeah, but that's why Alisson and Ederson and Manuel Neuer are the 3 best goalkeepers in the world, because they're centre backs, or they're even centre midfielders playing as goalkeepers. Ederson is worth 10 to 12 points himself just through assists. He just finds Kevin De Bruyne on an attack. You don't need your defender to have to be able to do long passes, but your goalkeeper can do it. The game has changed a little bit away from Lloris's skill set, but that doesn't diminish Lloris's skill set. If you know what I mean.
In the chat, talking nonsense.
Do what? Sorry,
Dave's in the chat talking nonsense.
I smoked. So, Stephen, how many Spurs players will get in the team then?
Romero, Kane, Son, 3.
Gibbo, how many Arsenal players will get in your Spurs 11? You can guess where we're going next.
Yes.
I like Martinelli, but we play different formations, don't we? I mean, that's where it's difficult. If they don't play wing backs, we need. If they had wing backs, possibility they could get in. But
if Tierney could stay fit, you'd love him as left wing back.
Oh yeah.
If he could stay fit.
But I think the guy
he'd be perfect for your left wing back, because he can play centre back like he does for Scotland, and you could have both. But again, he can't stay fit. Celtic ran him into the ground.
I like Odegaard. I like Martinelli, but would they get in
against
where about?
Yeah, again, it's different. It's different jobs. Like Odegaard presses a bit. He's really good at pressing, but you're not going to play him. Like I say, he plays 2 central defensive mids, and
Saliba is obviously people talk about. And I've got to be honest, don't really watch Arsenal play. No disrespect, but I don't. Like a lot of
that's not Arsenal. That's not slight.
Like it's not. They must have some decent players, but I don't really watch them play, and I don't really take a lot of notice what they're doing. So
Saliba was brilliant at Marseille last year. But Saliba was the best young player in France last year. He was voted that. He was unbelievable at Marseille. I know it's France, but still,
he may do, because I think. If he played in a back 3 for Spurs, where would he sit? Would he sit on the right hand side of a back 3, or would he play?
He could play anywhere. He can play both. He could play anywhere across the 3. He's done it for France. He's right-footed. He's right-footed, and he can play left centre back.
HG, would he get in over Dyer for you? Yeah. That's fair enough. Then I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, Saliba and Romero were the 2 best centre backs. They really are.
Yeah, I like Dyer, but I don't think he's brilliant. I think he's he's very upgradable for Spurs. So if Saliba would do that, we'd have him in there.
His leadership's obviously better, isn't it? But and that's why he's in. That's why he's in. That's why every manager likes him. In a 3, I think.
Yeah.
It's horses for courses, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, but both sides still struggle a little bit with fullbacks, right? Like ours are more wing backs. Theirs are either central midfielders or centre backs turned right backs. Like neither club really has fullbacks, and so which formation suits like away from that? It would be 3 centre backs, and then what do you do with your wing backs? Do you go more attacking? Do you play maybe Saka down the left or Perisic on the left or something to get these players in? I don't know, but the defense is the difficult part because you'd probably say Romero, Saliba, and one other, to be your back 3.
And you could make the argument for 7 players there.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think any of them stand out a lot from each other. Like Ben White's good, Gabriel is good, but like I said, Ben Dyer's been good. But to be fair, Ben Davies
is steady.
He's done the job.
Steady.
He's done a really good job of adapting his game. He was never the quickest fullback to start off with, so he's not Azpilicueta, but he's done a similar job where it's like he can play either side, and he's gone, right, okay, I'll use my positional sense as a plus for me. I will make sure I'm in the right place at the right time, and I'll just be an asset. I will do the running that Romero and Dyer don't want to do. I'll be the third lad. I'll fill the space. They can do what they want to do, and I'll make up for the errors, and it works.
Zinchenko is a left wing back. Would he do that role?
He is a centre midfielder.
That's where he plays for Ukraine, doesn't he? Centre midfielder.
Yeah, he is a centre midfielder. We just play left back. Yeah, we just play left back because he's left foot.
But he played left back for City, didn't he?
Same reason.
Yes,
it's
Arteta basically does everything his mentor did.
Yes, which isn't a bad thing in a way. Like we do play differently to City. There are quirks, but like City have the advantage of having Kevin De Bruyne, and it doesn't really matter.
You play. I am envious of the football Arsenal play.
Yeah,
they play lovely, passing, attractive football.
So. I mean, you look at what Arsenal are doing with Gabriel Jesus up top, and you think, how on earth was he not starting there for City? If the systems are that similar, right?
Yeah. Well, what changes? That's
pretty
much the main change, where it's like we are expecting more from our number 9. Where we don't want him just to make runs off the channel so that Gundogan and De Bruyne could bomb through. Yeah. It's mad how like City played all last year with no striker and won the league, and then they bring in Erling Haaland. And the thing about Manchester City, we all know they're a fantastic side, but Manchester City up until this season, they were never really a team where if they were on Sky, you'd grab a beer. Yeah. If City were playing any team, home, away, wherever, it's like, oh, lovely, City are on. I'd watch this. They were never that. Like Liverpool were, just because they were so much more attacking, so much more forceful, and it was almost a better watch. And
I prefer City. I'd rather City win games over Liverpool. But if I was going to pick a team at the top of their game to watch, it'd have to be Liverpool, which I'm gutted to say, but yeah.
And what we're doing is we're not as good as City, but we're more watchable because of it.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
That's fair.
We're flawed, but because we're flawed, we're actually making better decisions occasionally, and it looks prettier because it's not mechanical. Because it's not just knock the ball down to the byline, cut the ball in, and score 90 times a season. There are bits of flair from Saka, from Martinelli, from Odegaard. They're allowed input themselves on the game, as opposed to Guardiola, who literally draws a fucking pattern of play up into the box and goes, you do this, you do this, you do this, you run there, you run there. And if you won't do it, he will. It's
Stephen will remember, but it was the Brentford game, right, where like you had a chance within the first 45 seconds, and like Xhaka had decided he wasn't going to shoot, and he passed it inside to Martinelli, who fluffed his lines and got kind of also on his feet. Like that was incredible within the first minute of the game to come up with that move. You just, I don't want to praise them, but they have been very, very good. And even when they lost to Man United, there were plenty of times in that game where it was more Arsenal. And fortunately for us, when it went 2-1, that's when it all went a bit haywire. But
I don't think that's the truth. I think the thing is with this Arsenal side, is I don't think they've only been stretched open really by Man United. Let's be honest, and they haven't played the quality of opposition that they will do across the really elite teams across the season yet. And we'll see if they get exposed or not. I do think they're still potentially a little bit fragile. And I think that comes with the youth and lack of experience in the team. We shall see how they get on. I know they've bought some more established players. But
that's why the Brentford performance was so encouraging for us. Because usually after losing the way you do to United, where you're 2-1 down, and the manager goes, right, we're making a sub, make 3 subs at once, which he never does. It's always like, right, I'm going to change the game. And then immediately it's 3-1 and it's game over. And you're like, that one is purely on Arteta, where it's like he picked the wrong time to make the change. And he made too big a change and allowed Manchester United, who were on top at the time, to score third. And then you're like, okay, what's going to be the reaction to this? They've won 7 games in a row. Everyone's happy. Everyone's, the football's great. The passes are coming off. The centre-backs are scoring goals into the top corner. Everyone's happy. Everyone's joyous. Now you've just lost 3-1 to United, who were woeful 2 weeks before that, where they'd been losing 5-0 to Brentford. And now you've got Brentford away, and you piss on them. And it was just the fact that we didn't give Brentford a sniff, where it's like, maybe there's a difference now. Maybe, because, like Caller says, a couple of years ago, that defeat at United would have been in their heads for a month. They would have been, right, we're not going to chance anything. We're going to be nice and solid. We're not going to make any, we're not going to take any risks. We're going to be nice and safe. And what do you do? 45 seconds. Bing, 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 nearly scored. It would have been one of the goals of the season. That is a shift in mentality from Arsenal that we haven't seen in a while. And if they can keep that, then hopefully you'll be able to see a change in Arsenal where it's like they're not going to give up after one bad loss. Where, it doesn't happen like last season where they lose once and then 2 or 3 more come because they're still getting over the first one. That's the hope anyway.
Here's one for you. Are we going to change our free kick taker at some point?
No, you're not. No, you're not. Do you know why? Because as soon as you start going to Harry Kane saying you can't do this, you can't do that, he's walking.
Mate, he's the worst. I love Harry Kane, but he is the worst free kick taker I have ever seen. Yeah. They are awful. Awful. You look at brilliant player, awful free kick taker.
Obviously, Son scored another absolute belter. Yeah, South Korea. If you look at him, he's taken 5 free kicks. He's got 1 goal. 20% conversion rate. That's not bad, is it? Why is he not taking the ball?
Look at Trippier underneath him.
Can anyone remember when Son scored a free kick?
I genuinely can't. Yes, Son is one of the 3 players who we have to test the tape. We have him, Harry, and Eric Dyer. Yeah.
I find the fact that Kane keeps standing over these free kicks when there obviously isn't. I was going to say must be. There's obviously better free kick takers. That really frustrates me about him. That's like a really selfish. Don't get me wrong. I know all strikers and forwards, and he wants to bag the goals and he wants the numbers, but
that's the other side of it.
Piss take. It's a piss take.
He stands there and basically says, "My name is Harry Kane."
Yeah, and I'm hitting Rosette.
Yep. But that's
a deflected one pre-season.
Yeah.
But the free kick when he scored at Villa, that was deflected, wasn't it?
As well. Yeah.
That was a massive deflection. You'd have thought that somebody like Conte would have gone, look, mate.
Yeah, free. Yeah, it was just you didn't intend.
Is that the one? Oh my gosh!
At home last season.
Yeah.
Went top of the league, didn't we? I thought that was just a cross. I couldn't remember that game was so. No, but what I mean is, I can't even remember it being a free kick.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
I thought it sort of come back to him, and he's just whipped it. That game was doggo. No wonder I can't remember that. That was proper Nuno.
So this is our record. Sorry to bring this up. This is our record. Unfortunately, the Emirates.
Oh my gosh.
Not clean sheets.
No.
On either side, like the idea that we've dominated you for a decade and a half doesn't really. You look at scores like that, and then you think, well, hang on. A lot of draws in that, a lot of 3-1s and 2-1s and such a lot. Like it's not like you've been bet 3 or 4-0 every time. I mean, there are a couple of 5-2s on there, of course, but
how are the 5-2s a decade ago? That's mental.
Because you got old.
Yeah,
4-2 in 2018. It was a long time ago. Didn't Adebayor was with us then? Sahar.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 5-2. Yeah.
And sadly,
Oh my gosh.
this
Yes.
is also a stat. Points lost from winning positions. Yeah.
Look, it's time to turn up tomorrow, isn't it? I know we say this a lot, but you know, like HG said earlier, is Conte? Is it going to be Conte? You know, getting his way, or is it going to be Spurs? We've got to start. We've got to turn up. The players have got to turn up. Our big players have got to turn up. We're due a win there. Or, I mean, like I said, we'll take a draw, but we got to go there, and you know, we've got to just start turning up at these places. Let's start tomorrow. That stat you put up there with all them, it's just shocking. You can't keep having that. You're going nowhere.
Hey, don't go to that bookie offering you odds on an Arsenal winning, that's for sure.
Yeah. That's what I mean about tomorrow. The Arsenal fans, like we're talking here, but my point earlier on was Arsenal fans will be expecting to win that fixture tomorrow. They'd be fucking mad.
No,
not to be expecting. Like when you look at our record there, deep down, if they think about it, how Spurs usually go there and play. Arsenal are playing good football, and I know people say it's only 8 games, so being top of the league don't matter. But the fans will be thinking, we're top of the league, we're playing well. Spurs are playing well, but they never win here. We can beat them, and I'm expecting us to beat them.
The confidence should certainly be on their side, in the same way that the confidence should be us when they come to our place.
Yeah.
But we've won there twice. One Premier League win and one Cup win since they moved from Highbury.
But if we knew what the result was going to be, we wouldn't watch the game. That's the
absolutely. And the thing is, you know, Conte wasn't in charge last time we went to the Emirates, was he? Nuno was. So, you know, you have to almost.
But you could say that, caller. But you could have Paul Daniels in charge over the last however many years,
and he still wouldn't. His assistant.
Yeah, and he still wouldn't get. You know, it don't matter how good he was at magic. We ain't getting a result,
gone from the optimist to only Paul Daniels can save us.
No, but what I'm saying is that's before. We've got to turn that round.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a different era. It's a different era. It's not the same, is it?
To be fair, you wouldn't lose many VAR decisions if it was Debbie McGee going up to the fourth official every time a foul went your way.
We've got a world-class manager now. We didn't have a world-class manager when we went there last season.
I fancy us to get a decent result tomorrow. I think we will. We're due.
Nuno wasn't a world-class manager.
No shit.
Mourinho was busted by the time he got to us. Pochettino isn't a world-class manager. Harry Redknapp isn't a world-class manager. We have got, for the first time, visiting the Emirates, in my opinion, a world-class manager at the helm. So you've got to kind of like part the history because it counts for shit tomorrow.
I mean, there's also the evidence that if we go there and lose 3-0, well, the last time Conte did that, he went and won the league. So, like, there's always going to be some kind of...
so many upsides, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, that is true.
And like I said before, I know, like, the last time we clashed, they massively bottled it, Arsenal. Yep. They massively bottled the game. Yep. That will be in their heads.
But they are...
It will be.
They are undoubted. People were talking about the transfer window. We had a good transfer window. But Arsenal's transfer window has improved their first 11. That first 11 is better than the first 11 that played us at the Lane. We've had a good window, but I don't think our window has really improved our first 11.
We didn't need to improve it much. It was the fact that
Arsenal's first 11 is far. But Arsenal's first 11 has improved more than ours.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those ones. Like I said, it's one of those ones where it's like you said, when we were talking about Richarlison.
Go on, then. Go on.
I don't think you play it's about a squad in the Premier League, not a first 11, isn't it? And I think we've improved our squad probably to a similar degree that Arsenal have.
Yeah.
So I don't really buy into your argument.
But their first, do you not think that their first 11 is better from when what would have been their first 11 played us at the Lane? The team that plays
tomorrow is better than the team that played in May. Yes,
absolutely.
But your squad is light years ahead of where it was in May.
Yeah,
where it's like you were looking at fourth in May and hoping, whereas now you're in a position to go. If City stumble, we might have a shot here.
Say that. She doesn't like that kind of talk.
No, I know, but that's the whole point of buying a fourth. That's why you buy a fourth forward for 60 million.
Yeah,
that's why.
The only reason I don't like talk like that is because I secretly
you don't want to jinx it.
No, it's not even jinxing it. It's like even saying it out loud, right? Like we talked before.
It's the hope that kills you, HG.
Liverpool's midfield is old, right?
Yep.
And City, like you know, one injury, like this
Haaland
season
gets injured, Romero takes him out.
Exactly. This season it will be based on squad depth, and Spurs have it.
Yep.
To whatever level they have it. We've got decent players, and we can also say, look, we'd like to have a better right wing back because we all would. But when you look around the league at the kind of depth of squads, Chelsea's is probably there if Potter can get them going. But if he's going to play Sterling at left wing back, then brilliant. But it's one of those seasons that it is a couple of injuries to those teams. Like, I mean, Stephen talked about City having 19 senior players, and I worked out before the start of the season they only had like 17 players that had started a Premier League game because obviously Alvarez and Haaland hadn't done that. And you think, I mean, 17, that's not even a full match. Like, they have kids on their bench every single game, City.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's like you don't, like, you want to dream because you know that, like, with Conte, anything can happen. And the start we've had has been very, very good. I guess I'm disappointed that compared to the end of last season, our performances have been so much worse. Like, and I know that other teams they've probably sussed us out a little bit.
It's fluidity. We haven't had the fluidity.
Yeah, we just haven't played very well.
Yeah.
We just haven't played very well. We've had moments like in the first game we scored a few goals pretty quickly, and that helped us. So we thought 4-1, okay, that's good. But since then, the 6-2 at Leicester outplayed us for a chunk of that game. They just don't have a defence, right? So I'm definitely nervous, but I know that Spurs will eke results all season. I do know that.
I think Paddy's nail on the head here. Arsenal's first 11 is not better than Spurs, and we also have better options to bring off the bench, whereas Arsenal don't.
I didn't. All I meant was I think Arsenal's first 11 is now better than what it was when they played us last time. I don't think they've got a better first 11 than we have.
I got what you said. I'd argue they needed to spend more than us, but
Probably,
yeah, definitely. Like I say, you needed, window fittings. We needed a roof. Like we needed, a new centre back, which we brought in from Marseille, a new centre midfielder that we didn't get. That's what we needed. We needed an upgrade on Xhaka, desperately. And we needed a striker. We got one, and he's really good. So like we're 2 out of 3.
Still doesn't get in the Brazil squad ahead of our reserve striker who scored 2 goals for Brazil on international duty. I'll just point that out. But
he also doesn't get bananas getting thrown at him for no reason. So it's quid pro quo.
Do you know the referee is for the game? Anyone?
It's Anthony Taylor, right?
Oh, you know your stuff, Anthony Taylor.
Great. Well, I think everyone hates him. So
I was going to say he's not
the best referee in the league because everyone hates him.
Yeah,
he's that awful that we can't accuse him of being biased because we know he's so bad that he can't intelligently come up with a good reason to be biased in the first place. He's just that bad.
Have you had Simon Hooper yet?
Once.
Oh, we've had him twice, and I really want to kill him. It's just awful.
It's one of those ones where it's like I don't know if he's all hands. Like it's almost like he's miming his way through a game. Where it's like you there, and it's like just ref the game. Don't tell me where the emergency exit is. It's all like feet, and it's like where have we taught drama school? But that's what for the last 15 years. That's what referees have been taught to do. Input your force in the game. Make sure you're not bullied instead of referee the game. Know the laws. If you become a good referee, you will get respect for being a good referee. And no one will take the shit out of you because you're a good referee. That doesn't happen much these days. Why? Because referees aren't very good. And we would start giving referees the respect they deserve when they're good at their job.
Do you know who the VAR officials are for the weekend?
I don't.
Gerard Gillett?
Oh, the Aussie.
Yeah.
Great.
No.
And Timothy Wood. So
Woody.
Victoria's husband. Like, what's that?
Good old Woody. So there you go. That means pretty much nothing to me. Predictions. Let's do predictions. What's wrong with your face, HG? You're so negative tonight.
I'm not. Like, it's Arsenal away. I'm sorry.
No,
this is based on evidence. This is not based on. I came home and then my McDonald's was cold. No,
it's not based on evidence, is it? This is where I disagree because you're basing that on history.
On Spurs' performances at Arsenal. Yes,
never been there with a world-class manager. It's a different thing.
Okay, so I'm basing it on previous evidence, and you're basing it on a wish list.
But evidence isn't evidence when that same team with that same manager hasn't been there. What happened there last season and got
what happened when Conte went to Arsenal his first game in charge? What happened then? We talked about it earlier. You should know the answer.
Lost 3-0, yeah.
Yeah. So they went on to win the league, but I'm not. I would happily lose tomorrow if it meant we were going to win the league. In fact, that's my prediction. That's my prediction. We will lose 3-0 tomorrow, and then
I don't want to be in the heinous. I don't want to be in the heinous spot of backing up Caller, but when Conte went to Arsenal in his first game with Chelsea, he played 4 at the back.
Yeah.
Lost 3-0.
Changed it.
Fuck that for a laugh. Went to 5 at the back and won 13 straight and pissed the league. Yeah. So
Spurs.
So it's if I would Conte, I literally dig a ditch outside my penalty box and I say I'm taking a 0-0. It's the first game of 13. I'm not risking anything. It's too big. It's too long a season. Nobody cares about this game in 2 months. Just take a 0-0. That's the pragmatic thing. And because he's won leagues before, I think that's what he'll do. He's going to look at the long-term position and go, I'm not risking it. I'm not risking Kulusevski, even though him playing behind Zinchenko is our best chance of winning. I'm not risking it because we've got 12 more games in a month and a half. So I think he'll go pragmatic. 0-0.
Oh, no. Okay. Gibbo?
Desmond.
2-2.
Desmond 2-2, mate. But I've just got a sneaking feeling, mate, we could win. Obviously, we could win, but I won't be surprised if we win tomorrow.
We're going to sneak it. It's going to be a thriller. We're going to win 3-2. Believe!
I don't think it'll be 0-0. I don't think we keep. I think
history shows us, if you want to use HG's methodology, that it won't be 0-0.
History and evidence goes against us. Obviously,
on everything
goes against us on everything. But I fancy us tomorrow.
Yeah,
I fancy us. Yeah,
I think we're the better team, but I think we'll be lucky to get out of there with a draw. That's my
Conte masterclass. Go there and stink the joint out and then nick it.
That would 2-2.
Let's have 2-2.
That would do me. All right, prediction. Who's going to finish higher this season then? Gibbo, sticking with you.
Spurs. Whatever happens tomorrow, Tottenham will finish higher than Arsenal.
Where are we going to finish?
4th.
Where are Arsenal going to finish?
5th.
I thought that might be your very basic answer on the back of the 4th. HG?
What happens in the Champions League with us? Because that helps. Yeah. That matters, right? Like, do I think we'll make top 4? Yes, I do. I do think we'll finish. Do I think Arsenal will? Yes. Who finishes above who? That's the tough thing because, like, granted, the Champions League games could be over in a month and a half, right? And then we don't have to worry about it.
Either, to be fair,
sorry.
It almost, dare I say, it doesn't actually matter, really, to be honest, does it?
If
does. In the top 4.
Of course it matters because, like, if we want to stay in the Champions League, that means we have to rotate and keep the better players fit.
No, that's not what you've got the wrong end of the stick. What I mean is, it doesn't really matter who finishes above who if we both finish in the top 4, does it?
No, not really. I mean, like, the thing is, it all depends on whether you care about those bragging rights. The fact that it was 20 odd years where we were behind them, and then we turned it around to 6 or 7 now. Right, that's a fair chunk of time.
Yeah.
Last season ended the way that they used to end for us, right? Where we would be ahead, and then the final game. So there are certain narratives that are still at play where we've got the better manager, we've got the experience maybe in the team that Arsenal don't, and that we were the pretenders and we couldn't get above them. So I think we'll be above Arsenal, but I want to say 2nd and 4th. I think Spurs are very, very good, and Conte will get us there or thereabouts. But I think that Arsenal, with their ability to score goals against anyone, second and fourth for us.
Yeah, okay. I'm in and around the same. Maybe second, third. Just because Tottenham have a bigger squad than pretty much anyone, and this season is going to be hell for everyone. We've got World Cup in November. Like nobody knows. Like if I was going to make an accurate prediction and say, right, this is what I think is going to happen, then I would need to know what my squad looks like at the end of January. At the end of that,
that's an interesting point, actually, though, because I think you're fairly spent out, aren't you?
With FFP,
you're on a watch list.
We'll go again in January, I think.
Whereas I think we've got loads of scope because we spend basically nothing.
I don't think I'm not saying we'll spend loads, but I think we could go again.
Yeah, and that's going to be key. Like being able to like Liverpool will.
Yeah.
So, do we think Liverpool will miss out on the top four? Obviously, they're not bang at it. So we're talking about these top.
I think they get fourth.
So early to tell.
Yeah, I think they get fourth just because I think Potter's going to get sacked by Chelsea before the end of the season. And and as Colin will say, I want Potter as the Arsenal coach, but he has walked into a tire fire.
Yeah,
an absolute tire fire, and there's no way he's going to get anything close to the cohesion that you need to play his brand of football that Brighton were so good at. Like there's no chance. United.
If he can turn Chelsea around with no training sessions, right, with games every 3-4 days,
then he's the best coach in the world.
Then he is. It's rough, like because United have surprised me at how well they've turned things around after those first two games. 4 wins on the spin. Like they're not a great side.
They can't play Eriksen every game.
No, but again, it's like saying you can't play Gabriel Jesus every game, but in the Europa League, you don't have to worry about playing players every game. Really.
Yeah, but our second striker's all right. Their next progressive ball carrying midfielder is Scott McTominay.
That's true. Like there's this idea, to me, it's always about midfield, right? The strength of the midfield shows you a lot about where you're going to go. Man City have 5 of the world's best attacking midfielders. They can play with wherever they want, and they will dominate games, right? And you see that as much as I know that Man United paid a lot for Casemiro, suddenly they have a McTominay-Eriksen axis that seems to work quite well. And then you've got Casemiro and Fred who play together for Brazil all the time. Yeah. So suddenly it's like, wait, is that suddenly why they're getting the results? Is that how Anthony getting the space against Arsenal and scoring the goal? Okay, that won't happen every game, but again, it's about being that kind of flat track bully. Like if Arsenal could win 30 games this season and lose all the important ones and make the top 4 easily, right? Yeah. And so you just think, is that where we are now? Like the result that hurts me the most this season is the fact that we drew at West Ham, and we don't really get results at West Ham either. But it's a team that suddenly we dropped 2 points. That's it. We dropped. Yeah, we should have won that game, and I feel like this season is where we're going to be. Liverpool's midfield, if they're fit, is one of the best, but can they stay fit? And clearly this season they haven't done, and that's why they've struggled. It's going to be so interesting come February, like who is really set for the rest of the season. And right now it's about, as Stephen said before, like if we get the results to the World Cup, like if Spurs and Arsenal reach the World Cup and they're both in the top 4, everything is on.
Hold the thought, HG, because there was Manager of the Month announcement today. There you go.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He needs shooting for that man from Del Monte suit.
I hate that suit.
He really does.
But
HG, I believe you requested this slide in the slide deck today for a reason.
Look, I was very vocal about not liking or rating Ten Hag when it was linked with Spurs. But you can't deny that the 4 wins they've had have been pretty good, right? To win 4 on the spin in the Premier League is not easy to do. And I'm interested to see what will happen with them. I really am, because 2 months ago, I didn't even consider them as being an option for the top 4. And I do
He's getting
now.
You're getting a tune from Sancho, isn't he, at the minute?
I've always rated Sancho. So that is not a surprise.
But he hadn't pulled up any trees at United, had he? And he's got him.
I've always
got him playing.
He didn't have a consistent run of games.
He's got him playing.
Playing in the system. So it's kind of like with United together where you sign these players.
And with United, if he does get them going, they'll spend money. They'll spend money to get the players they want in.
They don't have a good track record of spending money. That's the thing. They spent 80 million on Maguire.
Oh yeah, I mean they do that. But what I'm saying is, if they can get something going, and it's working for Ten Hag, and they identify some decent players, they get their act together in the transfer market.
They might have one more player in them, maybe at like 50, 60 million, but I can't see them.
Mate, they're Man United.
So,
yeah, but the player that the player that they want.
It's right though. It's fact, mate.
The player that they want, the player that everyone wants, is currently 19-year-olds at Borussia Dortmund, and by all accounts, Liverpool have him in the bag in Bellingham. Like that's the next big fish. That's the next Haaland. That's the next Mbappe. And Liverpool have been saving up their pocket money for 2 years, and they're not going to miss out on him. And after that, what do you do?
I really want him to spend his whole career outside of England.
I think Chelsea are going to bulldoze in there with another. I think Chelsea will bulldoze in there with another briefcase of American cash, spank it on him, and then park him on the bench for the next 3 years. That's what I think.
Yeah, it depends what Potter. If Potter, I don't think Potter would do something like that, would he? If
Chelsea Potter. Do you think the manager at Chelsea makes transfer decisions?
Well, they're under new ownership, and if they back Potter, that means backing him not just with money, but doing how he wants to do them.
25 million Aubameyang, specifically because Thomas Tuchel was his best friend at Dortmund.
Yeah, and then
that's exactly why they did. And he said, "I need a striker." Okay, we will buy your best mate. He loses one game, gone. And then Aubameyang's now sitting on his thought outside Yanami's whether to chrome his Ferrari or his Porsche.
I can't see him go. Oh, well, I could see him buying Bellingham, but I don't think they'll just buy him to sit him on the bench.
Who are we talking about? Anyone who buys Bellingham is not sitting him on the bench.
No.
Not for.
That doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah,
he's going for.
It was a comedic comment on how Chelsea have managed to wreck most of the talent they've bought in the last few years, but never mind. Who did Man United beat for Ten Hag to win Manager of the Month?
Boss.
Oh yeah, and Leicester.
Really? Was Leicester with the other side?
Yes. Yeah.
What a glory!
Who got Player of the Month?
I know this. It was Rashford. Marcus Rashford of all people.
Yeah.
For the 2 goals against Arsenal and nothing else I can think of.
Wow.
Who picks these?
There's a Premier League advisory board.
Yeah, I think it's actually voted on.
Gary Neville, Phil Neville.
Roy Keane.
It's voted on, isn't it?
Voted
on the Premier League app.
And then they put him in FIFA, and we all give out about the fact that he's 84 rated and too expensive.
Save of the month was Pickford, but let's face it, he gets lots of practice.
Yep.
And I can't remember what the other was. It Physio of the month. I don't know. Yes, goal of the month. That's what it was. And who was that?
Son was up for that. Was
Son? Must have been.
Must have been
one of Son.
Wasn't Son. No, it wasn't.
No idea.
I do know. But I can't remember. Well. Drop it in the chat if you can remember, or have a quick Google. I watched it earlier. Can't remember. The problem with having a million things on your mind and young kids who wake you up at 5 a.m. and then puke up on you. Yeah. So lots going on. Let's predict the. I mean, this is just a. This is not a predictor. This is a touch on what the next fixtures look like.
Yeah.
It's very congested, isn't it? So Arsenal away, Frankfurt away, Brighton away, ouch, and Frankfurt at home. Everton at home, Man United away, Tottenham at home. I mean, it's fixture congestion gone mad, isn't it? This is where the squad's got to play a part, isn't it, Gibbo?
Yeah, there's just loads of fixtures, aren't there? And they're quite tough, some of them, aren't they?
I knew Becky wouldn't let me down. Ivan Toney. It was Ivan
that was goal of the month?
With a chip. Yeah.
The chip. That was class. That was class. I'll give him that.
Sorry, Gibbo.
That's all right. It's a tough period, isn't it? Conte said that. We have got to use the squad. It's just going to be a slog. Just got game after game. You've got to get in a winning becomes habit. So can losing. So you've just got to keep ploughing on, getting results. That's all there is to it.
But the thing is, like every single team that we see as a rival for top four or whatever the goal is has that fixture list, right? And with us, it's Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday with the odd Sunday thrown in, and for some, it's Thursday, Sunday, guaranteed pretty much every week. So, like everyone is going to have to deal with it. And we talked before about Spurs having a decent squad with decent depth, and so like Højbjerg is not going to start every game. He can't. We have to then start trusting these players. And you look at that fixture list and say, well, like, you know, where are there easy ones in the next 4 games? Maybe there aren't any, because Brighton away won't be easy, even with the new manager in charge. And the Frankfurt games, to me, like if we lose both, then Champions League is kind of not done, but not far off. So I don't want that. I want to be in the Champions League, even if it's only we play the last 16 in February and March, and that's it, and we're out. I want to be in those tournaments. I want to be playing those games. I want to stay in it. I'm not interested in playing Europa League, really, right? As much as it would be great for Spurs, and it's another way to get to the Champions League. It's like there's so much that can be riding on the league this season that it's really weird. It's going to be interesting to see Conte try and figure out how to you know which central midfield pairing works the best, or like. Can Kulusevski and Richarlison play a game together up top? Right? Are we able to say to Kane and Son, neither of you are starting tonight? I still think that some manager at some point is going to say, you know what, you getting an hour and that's it, and you can run your nuts off for an hour because I've got 5 subs I can make. I've got so many subs I can make. I'm going to make them, and it becomes almost like a NFL style substitution pattern where it's going to happen. At some point, a manager is going to figure that out. But
where in that run, HG, do you think you could, like Kane, not tonight, mate, you're on the bench? Where do you think that could be? Lisbon, if Lisbon it. Well, not Lisbon, is it? Sporting at home?
In a perfect world, let me see.
There isn't an easy one, is there?
No. In a perfect world, that Marseille game, we've qualified by that point.
Yeah.
So that won't matter so much.
Yeah,
or full.
We'll be out exactly right. It won't. Like to me, it's home games, right? They're the ones that are supposed to be easier. So you're looking at Newcastle, maybe Everton. Maybe. But yeah, I mean, there aren't many home games there.
No,
and the Champions League games aren't going to be those ones. So
that's a tough old run, isn't it? That really, I know, like you said, that's a tough run. That is tricky run.
How many home league games do we have in those? Is it just 2?
Yeah, 2.
2.
Yeah, it is 2, and I've sold both tickets because I can't get there. But yeah.
And like just to read out,
just after that, it's Liverpool at home, isn't it? And then the break.
Then Leeds, So
just to read
Liverpool
out
at home, and then the World Cup, basically.
Yeah, just to read out Arsenal's, like if it was the case with European football, Europa League football, it might be easier, but it's not. I think it's Tottenham home tomorrow. Bodo Glimt, the Norwegian champions, Thursday. That could be a hard game. Liverpool at home Sunday. Away to the North Pole, because Bodo Glimt is above the Arctic Circle. Yeah. Leeds away. PSV at home. Southampton away. PSV away. Nottingham Forest at home, and then Zurich at home. So they're at the end. There might be a couple of games where you could go right, okay, but then after the Zurich game, Chelsea away, Brighton at home, Wolves away, Brighton away, Newcastle at home, and then you're into January. There's Tottenham away.
Like when you look at those fixture lists, the fact that if Spurs only have 2 home games in October, that means Arsenal only have 2 away games.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that option is always there.
Yeah.
So if I'm an Arsenal fan, you'd have to look at that and think, we should be ahead. Yeah. Right? At the end of October, we should be ahead. However we get there, we should be ahead of our rivals, of Spurs. Whatever the other teams do is up to them. But every team is going to have this kind of crazy schedule. Who's 4th? Is it Brighton still?
Yeah.
Like Brighton won't. Right, so if De Zerbi comes in, who's clearly a good manager, and manages to find them a striker or get them scoring goals, it's the perfect season for Brighton to come in and just do something that no one expects them to do. We could have this conversation in 2 weeks and have completely different viewpoints on what the future is going to be, because the next 4 games are crucial for everyone.
Yep. Stupid logic. I hate when logic gets in the way of a good football argument by pointing out, it's like, yeah, but you can't predict anything because nobody knows what's going to happen, do you? And you're like, shut up.
I would agree. And finally, big news. Your match day is here. FIFA 23 out now. So that was exciting. But
it's out Monday if you actually are a degenerate and you get the Ultimate Edition.
I've got the Ultimate Edition. It's out
Sorry?
now. The Ultimate Edition's out now.
Well, if you're an Ultimate degenerate and you subscribe to EA Plus Pro,
yes,
you get it on the Monday.
No, I've got it already.
I've had it since Monday.
Oh, I see. Sorry, no, I've had it for a few days.
Yeah, you've had it as well. Yeah, because I play Ultimate Team because my nephew likes opening packs.
PS5.
Sorry,
my son's been shouting at it since Monday.
Yeah. PS5, Stephen.
No, PC.
PC.
Yeah,
that's left field.
I literally play on this screen here because I got my little recording studio here for when I do the radio show is here, so I've got another screen there. So while I'm waiting for files to render, PC, Football Manager, FIFA, happy days.
I'll listen to a 14-year-old play on it. That's enough for me.
No, I'm going to play you on it, Gibbo.
Mate,
it's cross-play this year.
So I can play you?
Yes.
Get in. Let's get it on. Let's get it. Arsenal Spurs, yeah? We'll put it on Twitch. Everyone watching this broadcast, follow our Twitch channel, and we'll get it on. Yeah, sounds good. Look, guys, we've been going nearly 2 hours. It doesn't feel like it. I've hardly said anything I feel in this broadcast, which is always a good sign of good guests and good debate. Gibbo, thanks so much for joining us.
Been an absolute pleasure, caller.
Good man. You had to say that, really. HG, once again, I'm sorry, Stephen, once again, thanks very much for being on, our friendly neighbourhood gooner.
Yeah, brilliant, Steve.
No, as always, gentlemen, it's always a pleasure to come on and just talk good football. Yes, we are completely, of the other side of the fence, blah, 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 but, it's a game. Just because I give a shit about one side of it and you give a shit about the others doesn't mean we can't share a pint and have a good talk. It should never get as bad as that where people are fighting or throwing name calling. We are intelligent, industrially languaged football fans at the end of the day.
Absolutely, you gooner scum.
Yeah.
HG, thanks very much for joining. I do mean you this time, HG.
No problem. I just hope for a better game than the one I saw tonight here in Vienna that finished 1-0 with a last-minute own goal. It was the perfect ending to the shittiest match. Just terrible. So please not that tomorroll. I do not want a 1-0 win for the home side.
That's why you're in such a negative mood. Anyway,
for us, hang on, sorry, call it for us. Surely it cannot be any worse than it was at the Emirates last year, can it?
No,
we can't be.
Oh
that
my
bad.
God, we've covered this, Gibbo. Manager, different 11. I'm going.
No, we're
going to Spurs.
Come on,
HG.
Come on, you Spurs.
Oh my God.
Oh.